Alright, what's up guys? Just doing take 2 of this video because I'm kind of just blabbering and don't really have my thoughts together. But I do want to talk to you guys about sensitivity and give you guys some ideas of what it is. So, I struggled with this a lot and I just switched my sensitivity so many times. I thought, oh, sensitivity, I gotta find that magic number that'll make me aim better. Or lower sensitivity is always better, so I should just stick with a really low sensitivity and then I'll adjust to it. But that's not true. And the first one isn't true either. Like, there's no magic number. The magic number is like what you want, like what you prefer is the sensitivity that's better for you. And so, like, are you a close range player or are you a far range player? That's what kind of decides what sensitivity you want. So, sensitivity, I would say, is distance / speed. If you want to move around a little bit faster, then you raise it. But there's one thing that I just learned and I noticed throughout going through these two mices right here. So Logitech G303 right here, and then Logitech G400S. G400S is a lot heavier, so I noticed when I'm using claw grip on both mice, I can move this one a lot faster, and this one was a little bit slower to move around. But the sensitivity 2.3 is the same distance, so that's what you have to remember. 2.3, any sensitivity that you use, if you use the same sensitivity on a different mice, but like the two mices are different but the sensitivity is the same, it's gonna be the same distance, 400 dpi. It's gonna move, you know, the same distance across the mouse pad as it would on any other mice. The only difference is the weight of the mouse. So of course, if something's heavier, it's gonna be slower, but the distance is still the same. So that's why heavier mice, you might want to use a 2.4 instead of 2.3 as you would on the Logitech G303. So yeah, I noticed when I'm playing and my arm is like hyped up and I pumped, I feel strong, I can use 2.3 on my Logitech G400. But when my arm's tired, I want to, maybe I'll go to 2.4 because my hand just doesn't want to move very fast. And then this one makes it so easier because like it goes where I want it to go without putting strength into it. So what I did is I bought a new mice feet for my Logitech G400S. They're hyper glides, and those are just known to make your mouse glide faster. But I think you lose the balance to that is when you increase the speed of something, you lose like accuracy a little bit, not precision. You don't lose like being able to make minor adjustments. You just lose the accuracy because it moves faster. So to counter that, people usually lower their sensitivity in order to compensate for the speed when you use a hyperglide mouse skate instead of the default black ones. So hyperglides are usually white, and mine are coming in 2 days, and I'll probably make another video saying how it feels. So 2.3, that's what I'm on right now. Oop, nope. 2.3, distance is the same, but since I have a heavier mouse, it feels it's a little bit slower. Like, it takes longer. It's harder to get to the same place than using the G303. Like, this is so much faster. Let me see if I can show it to you guys. So let me see. So I'm gonna try to go to that guy to that guy. So that's the G303, and this is gonna be the G400S. I don't know if you can see that. I don't know. Yeah, it feels slower to me. Like, it feels like I'm moving a brick instead of a pencil. So, when you're using a new mouse, just remember that. If it's heavier, it's going to be harder to move, but it'll be the same distance. This is a new revelation for me, and it might not be for you. Like, this might all be just like, come on, Hikaru, how do you not know this already? But, yeah, so I'm going to get hyperglides in order to balance the weight. Since the mouse is heavier, I'm gonna try to put on hyperglides so that it glides lighter and I can move it faster, and I might be able to have the same flicking that I want that I have with the G303. Because like, this mouse is just too small for me. My hands start cramping up, and it just like if I grip my hand like that, that's how I grip it, and then you look at it right here, it's just always in this position and just feels really cramped after I'm playing for a while. But with the G400S, I'm like this. It's a little more open. This is a lot more comfortable because my hand is like a lot more open. So last thing I wanted to talk about is me switching from fingertip to claw grip. Whenever the smaller the tool you have, the more precision you'll have. But in the gaming world, precision doesn't mean you'll have more accuracy. Like, if you have a smaller mouse, that doesn't mean you'll be more accurate. It means you'll be able to make smaller movements. But then you will want to lower your sensitivity because, like you feel like you don't have anything to move with. I don't know. But just, people always lower their sensitivity with lighter mice. So there's always a balance. You can't like go to a smaller mouse and not like suffer from going to a lighter mouse. You always have to like balance it with your sensitivity. Heavier mouse with higher sensitivity, smaller mouse with a lower sensitivity. There's always like a balance that people desire and talk about that. Oh yeah, I just got a smaller mouse, but you have to use a lower sensitivity for it. So there's that. And also fingertip, it's the same thing with fingertip and claw grip and palm grip. I think palm grip is actually slower because you don't really use your fingers to move the mouse. Claw grip is like medium speed, and then fingertip grip is the fastest way to move your mouse, I think. Because it requires, your fingers don't weigh that much, and your fingers are still pretty strong. So you can like really move your hand a lot instead of using palm grip where you have to use your whole arm to move the mouse like that. So I notice I always use a slower sensitivity. Like 2.3 on fingertip grip on the G400S is faster than a claw grip on the G400S. So when people say, "Oh, you might just not have the dexterity for 2.5 sensitivity," but I can use 2.5 right now on claw grip. Like, it's comfortable, but the speed is just really high. I don't like the speed. But when I go to fingertip, this is really uncomfortable. Like, I'm arching my fingers like this. It just feels really bad when I'm like aiming at this guy. Like, my hand is so tense right now when I'm using claw grip. Clicking is really hard too. Everything's tense, and when I click, it just doesn't feel right. But when I go to claw grip, 2.5, it feels fine. It's just the speed is just really high. Like, it doesn't feel like... I don't like moving my crosshair as much as I am on 2.5, but 2.3, my crosshair feels balanced with my sensitivity. With my movement, actually, sorry. My movement feels like... It feels like... I don't know, like... Sensitivity 2.1, my movement is a little bit moves more than my crosshair. 2.3, my crosshair moves like with my movement, but it kind of favors your crosshair. 2.4, your crosshair moves like a little bit more than your movement. And 2.5, your crosshair moves a lot more than your movement. So that's how you gotta think about it, I think. At least for me, that's how it is. It might be different for you. Like 1.6 might feel different for you than it does for me. I can only test my body and I can't test yours. So yeah, so that's just up in the air. But you can use my experience for yourself. Like, you can use my judgments on your level. So say I'm at a 2.3 level, you could be at a 1.6, but 1.6 can be your 2.3. Like 2.6 might be the one that you feel that your body is moving with your crosshair, and then 2.7 or 1.7 might be the one that's a little bit, your crosshair is too high. So you can use my ground basis at your sensitivity. So it doesn't really matter what sensitivity you're on. It matters which sensitivity gives you that feeling where, okay, I'm moving faster. My body's moving faster than my crosshair, so my sensitivity is a little too slow, and then my crosshair is moving too fast, where my movement is like, my movement doesn't even help me when I'm aiming. So that means your sensitivity is too high. So, yeah, it could be that. And then the weight of the mouse, hold on, let's put it like this. So your grip affects your sensitivity. no, your grip affects the speed of which you can move your mouse. The mouse weight affects the speed of which you can move your mouse. And then the comfort of the mouse affects what sensitivities I think you'll find comfortable. But it's always better to use the most comfortable mouse that you have, because then you can use more sensitivities. I think a lower sensitivity might be more comfortable if you're using an uncomfortable mouse than a higher sensitivity, because then you're really feeling the uncomfortness when you're on a higher sensitivity. Higher sensitivity, you always like kind of grip your mouse a little bit harder in your wrist, so you'll feel the uncomfortableness more if you're using higher sensitivity. So I think with the G400S, I was compensating. I went to a lower sensitivity because I was compensating for the uncomfortableness of the mouse for my grip. Like, my hands are like 20 centimeters long from like right here to there. So maybe the mouse is just too big, or the shape my fingers don't like the shape of where I grip it. I noticed that Scream, he uses fingertip grip, and he actually grips his mouse like his Death Adder. Like a long time ago, he used to use a Death Adder. He used to grip his fingers like right there, and I think that's how he was able to like use a 2.5 sensitivity, because he's using the edges of his hands like that. But me, I use my mouse like this, where it's kind of far back, and when I tense up, it just doesn't work very well. And I click right here at the top of the button, which you're actually supposed to click like down here. That's where, like, the lower you click on a mouse, the better the arc and the better clicking it is. But I was up here, so I think just my natural grip, fingertip grip for this mouse is just bad. Like, I'm not even where the buttons are. The buttons are right here, and my finger's right there, so I don't think I just naturally didn't grip this mouse right with fingertips. So I switched to the claw. Super comfortable. It's just heavier. That's why I'm getting the hyperglides to fix that. Usually when you switch to hyperglides on your mouse feet, you lower your sensitivity 0.1 or 0.2. So that should get me my speed back on the 2.3 that I really like, the balance between movement and speed. I really like just this balance right here. And remember, the distance should be the same for everybody. The dexterity, claw grip, I use a higher sensitivity because I can't move the mouse as fast. So I really think that the sensitivity, lower sensitivity, you're not really going to be an aggressive player. Higher sensitivity, you can. But comfort is whether your mouse is comfortable or you're using the right grip for it. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think. I didn't really have a well-constructed video here. I just kind of like looked at my notes and talked about stuff. Let me see if I can just sum it up one more time. The distance is the same for every sensitivity, like sensitivity, DPI, mouse sensitivity. It's the same. You got to remember that. The movement of your body in CS:GO, let's say Call of Duty, your movement is a lot faster. Like, you can sprint and shoot at the same time sometimes, and then like you move maybe at a 6.0 movement speed in Call of Duty, whereas in Counter-Strike you move at I'm just gonna make up a number, like 3. You move at a 3 with a rifle in your hand. So you're gonna want to use a different sensitivity in Counter-Strike, because when you aim with your movement has a certain speed too. So if you move 5 seconds to the right, it's gonna move your aim farther. You know what I'm saying? People talk about aiming with your movement all the time. You guys know what this is, right? So different games, they have different movement speeds. Like Overwatch, Soldier 76, he moves a lot faster. So you're probably gonna want maybe a higher sensitivity and not a low one like Counter-Strike does, because your movement is higher. So you want to keep your crosshair with your sensitivity, or with your body. So that's the point. So speed is your sensitivity, which is your DPI, your your window sensitivity, and your raw input, whatever, I don't know. And your character's movement. With pistols, you move faster, and then with a rifle, you move a lot. With an op, you move a lot slower. So So the character speed, your sensitivity, that's the distance, I think. The weight of the mouse is how fast you can move the mouse, and 2.3 can feel fast on a lighter mouse, but it can feel really slow on a heavier mouse. So what you could do is either switch to claw grip to make it slower if you want it to be slower. If it's too fast for you, you can switch to claw. Or if it's too slow for you, you can add hyperglides to your mouse. And I think you can use fingertip to make it a little bit faster. But it always takes a long time to switch your grip. Like for me, claw grip, I really had to, like, I noticed that you have to raise your sensitivity to get the same speed that you need for fingertip. Like if you want to get the same speed fingertip, you can't just use the same sensitivity. You have to raise it by like 0.2 to get that same speed. So you have to like find your same sensitivity that you used, like you have to find the same speed that you had with fingertip grip and transfer it over to your claw grip, which takes time because you just have to like experiment and see if your body's moving with your crosshair as much as you want it to. And yeah, so and also practice. Like you have to practice for like a week to get your claw grip comfortable and accurate. Like it was really uncomfortable when I first started using claw grip. I started claw grip on this mouse. It was really uncomfortable. I probably shouldn't have done it on this mouse. I probably should have used this one because it's generally more comfortable. But it was really uncomfortable for a long time. And I kept quitting. I kept going back to fingertip grip. Just don't play a comp game. Just grind deathmatch if you want to switch the grip, because you really just have to, you're really going back to noob and just working your way all the way up, and that takes time to develop. So, alright, this video was long enough. I hope you guys weren't bored out of your minds, and I hope this enlightens you guys a little bit. If you have two different mice, one's heavier than the other, try hyperglides if you want to get the mouse feeling faster, and then try fingertip if you want to move the mouse faster, and then try claw grip if you want to move the mouse slower, but want to keep the same sensitivity, which is the distance that you can move around on your sensitivity, or on your mouse pad. So I guess for Overwatch, the more space you have, the better, because you can 180 better. So this is just a hypothetical. I want to like tell you guys what I would do. If I want to use less space on my mouse pad, I would switch to claw grip. I would add, or I wouldn't use hyperglides, because that would lower my sensitivity. That would make me move my mouse faster, but I want to move my mouse slower and less to be more, to use less space and have that same accuracy speed. But yeah, if you want to use more mouse space, then I would use hyperglides and fingertip grip. That'll like make your sensitivity really low, like 1.8. That's how much it would make my sensitivity go to feel that same speed. But yeah, so I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching this. Hope I didn't bore you guys out, but let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like, what is your opinion on this, of the things I said? And I'll see you guys later. Thanks, guys.